all right. YouTube. What's the big old deal, man? It's y'all favorite hood partner, Big Nina Boy. And we back with another one. It looks like, you know what I'm saying, Rap News Street Politics is doing episode 3 to how to rob $6 million federal indictment coming out of Inglewood by the Inglewood families, man. So what I got to say is this is for educational purposes only. Over here at the Nina Boy Show, man, we like to double back and look at the content that show the mistakes that people make when they out here on this black top trying to get some of this money on. Let's go.
You know, the snitches hit us up on the last upload, got it stripped off YouTube, and we back with it. We hit 140,000 views on the last upload of this. Y'all make sure y'all run it back up. Now, this is the 3rd installment of the mini docu-series we doing on these crews that's doing it up in the city. The first 2 videos, we bought you a front row seat to the Harlem 30s stripping a jeweler of a $500,000 watch in Beverly Hills. We doubled back to Beverly Hills with the East Side babies coming out of Long Beach in connection with the Park Village Compton Crips, tapping a jewelry store, hitting for $2.6 million, with both of them crews going down in less than a month. Now we about to peel the curtain back with the Crenshaw and Manchester Gangsta Bloods coming out the city of Inglewood on a multi-million-dollar operation that got the ATF an award when they was done putting the pieces together on the Inglewood family Gangsta Bloods and a bunch of different hoods that they recruited to get popping inside jewelry stores throughout LA County, Orange County, and Riverside County. Now, like we said in the last video, we gonna keep up in the ante. These dudes had a multi-year run. And like I said, multi-million-dollar run at that. But we gonna bring y'all as close as possible to these dudes not only running a full-fledged organization, but them also setting each other up, some people doing a whole lot of snitching, and we got an individual that has escaped federal custody June of 2025 and has still not been apprehended, out here ducking his federal sentence imposed on a group called the Time Bandits. Now, you know, we gotta hit y'all with the disclaimer. We do not condone the act of any criminal activity or violence on Rap News Street Politics. This is just for education and entertainment only. But we're gonna go through their steps, they planning, and watch how they got down, bringing home what the feds say is $6 million over the course of 2 years in smash and grab robberies. This is how to rob, hypothetically, with the best hood channel on YouTube.
Inglewood family swan to that for Warren CS to JS, Westside BPS, Crenshaw Mafia Lane, and the smell of gang. How the fuck you from the top? You ain't never heard of my name.
Look at the time, yeah, I'm taking at the park. We don't hang with Marks. Brody got kicked up the whip because he ain't played his part.
Now, when I say team, you know, in the last couple videos, we had somewhat of some crews. 3, maybe 5 dudes jumping out, doing their thing. And like I said, all them dudes went down instantaneously based on the evidence and how they sold themselves up at the scene. Now, what differentiates these dudes from being a crew is the sheer size and organization that the Inglewood families put together on this move. But the IFGs did not come alone. They also employed dudes from Inglewood Neighborhood Piru, Inglewood Avenue Piru, Eastside Carver Park Compton Crip. The Hoovers is around this. Dudes from Eastside Bounty Hunter Watts and the A-Trays was also spoke about in the paperwork. But this was a classic case of some older homies pulling strings at the top and getting young niggas to do their bids for them. So we got to start with the main dude, a member of CMT, Keith Green Eyes Walton, coming out of Inglewood Family Gangsta Bloods. Now, G.I.'s played the role of a planner and a recruiter. Past credentials, the feds allege he's a career criminal, and at the time of this run, he spent half of it in federal custody, and when he got out the feds, he participated and turned the shit all the way up, pressing play on these robberies, putting the pieces together. His right-hand man, another top dude in the organization, we got Daryl Dent, who played the role of a planner, recruiter, a scout, and he was the watch connect that dealt closely with the buyer. And he's the one that brought the team aspect to the situation. Daryl Dent is an ex-MLB player who played for the Orioles as well as other teams. But the flocking was always in his trajectory because he was kicked off the Orioles for stealing the teammates' Rolex and writing the teammates' checks in his names and cashing them. So he was made for this from the jump. The next dude we got at the top is the dude from Inglewood neighborhood, Piru, Stanley Baldy Ford. Bald head, the oldest member of the crew, sitting at 47 at the time of these robberies. He served as a planner, a scout, but he was the final getaway car driver on these moves, and he also served as a point man, calling the green light when everything was a go for them dudes to run up in the store. Stanley also brought some impressive credentials to the play as well. He was on federal supervised release for armed bank robbery. So these was the three dudes at the top, pulling strings, making sure everything was planned out properly. Now they had somewhat of a starting five of young homies underneath them. Number one, Tiny Bogey, Robert Johnson from Inglewood Family Gangsta Bloods. He served as somewhat as an on-site manager, planner, recruiter, scout, and a weapons connect. Now, Tiny Bogey's credentials could, some people may say, exceed the others. He was arrested previously 5 different times for separate homicides and attempted murders alleged against him in the past. His first one being when he was 16 for a murder of a female in Inglewood. But check this, his father is an ex-cop, and he's brought his talents to Operation Shatter Glass. Next up, we got Jameson LaForce, aka Janky or J-Bone, 7-7 Inglewood Family Gangsta Bloods. Now, this is the first individual that we gonna speak on who was a torpedo, the runner, one of the dudes that jumped into the store and got cracking, but this is a jack of all trades. Not only was he a runner, recruiter, he was a driver, a scout, and a planner. At 24 years old, he had his hands in everything in this organization. Next up, they had some crippin' on their team as well. Evan Emack Scott, Eastside Carver Park, Compton. He was also a torpedo, but his main role was the gunman. He had the stick and played guard control because of his size, so he was always laying some shit down in the spot. He also was a scout, 27 years old at the time, and he was on parole at this time for robbery. Now, we about to go in depth about exactly the role that Emack played, but this is the individual that the Bureau of Prisons alleges escaped federal custody June 2025 and is currently on the run. Now, coming up after him is potentially one of the top recruiters. He brought some hoovers to the play and a lot of different other dudes from the neighborhood on these skits. We got Justin J. Stone Henning, Inglewood Family Gangsta Bloods, torpedo, recruiter, scout at 27 years old. And last but not least, we got Dominic Calloway, aka Bones, coming out of Compton. He was also a torpedo, 26 years old, heavily involved in these moves. Now, it's a lot of dudes that came off the bench from Inglewood families and other hoods throughout the city. We're going to speak on them dudes as they come up, but we got to put our focus back at the top with how this whole situation got started. And it starts with Daryl Dent and GIs from CMT. Them dudes had prior history before they put this team together. They met at a funeral wake in around 2011. Mind you, Daryl has already squandered his opportunities in the MLB. He fell into a life of crime. He's back in Inglewood hanging out with them members. And from November 2012 to May 13th, these two dudes break into 25 phone stores around the LA area, jumping through air vents and holes that they made in the wall, making off and getting popping on the commercial burglary scene. These dudes end up going down. GI serving time. Daryl Dent getting probation. Now, they link back up while GIs is still sitting down in 2014, and they think they got it all figured out and start assembling the teams based on what Daryl Dent got going on outside. He starts with what he calls track star robberies. So the track star robbery is where somebody goes into a jewelry store, tries on some jewelry, and runs out. And this is where Daryl finds himself early 2014 with an individual named Concrete from Hoover. And he got a couple dudes coming off the bench named DeAndre Johnson and Javon Walker. Their first track star robbery was in Century City at a store named Torno. Now, these moves didn't take a lot of planning. This was the early developmental stages of their organization. But Dent in the car with DeAndre, Concrete in the car with Javon. They send Javon Walker inside. He tries on a gold Rolex Daytona, runs out. These dudes come off with 8 racks. Now, of course, 8 racks, 4 people, they all get $2K each. Now, this is something that we've seen in the comments that many people have talked about the payout. The key thing is y'all got to understand, nobody on the back end market is paying retail price for any stolen goods. If they was going to pay retail, they would go to the retail store. So that's just how it is. It's a lot of work that goes into getting items off on the back end. for jewelry with gold, whether that means melting the gold down. Diamonds is, of course, a lot different. With situations like phones, you got to make sure the phone is not carrier locked. It's a lot of steps that not only the flockers, but the buyers have to go through to get it prepped to sell it to somebody who wants to get it. This is why these dudes will come up with a Rolex worth 20, 30, 40,000 and only make 8 racks off it. So with that being said, you know these dudes were unsatisfied. This is when Daryl starts leaning on GIs as to what he should do to up his take from these moves. Now, while they planning, they still doing these track star robberies. Multiple bench players is being interchanged as runners. DeAndre goes down for a period of time. Dent Concrete is doing it. And they bring in a little homie from Inglewood family named Kenneth Paul, aka Brown Eyes or Lil KO. And he starts getting his hands dirty. But on August 3rd, 2014, this is when the first organized smash and grab robbery goes down at Prestige Jewelers in Manhattan Beach. So, of course, like every move, all of y'all should know, and what people should be doing before they do this, is they walk through. So Daryl Dent and DeAndre Johnson do a walkthrough of Prestige Jewelers before the move. Now, the walkthrough is to see exit plan, check security, and if you can get close enough, check inventory, which is most important. You don't want to be on a play and come back with some bullshit that you can't get off. So they do that, and they bring in the jack of all trades, J-Bone from Inglewood Families. He comes up with another bench warmer named Spook, and he wants to put eyes on it himself. It said that J-Bone is a self-thinker. He needs to put his shit together in his own way, rightfully so. So he goes on a scout mission with Spook, make sure everything is fitting before they run up in this spot. Now, there was a couple places throughout Inglewood that these dudes would continuously meet at, one of which being Animo Inglewood, the high school, another one 8431 Crenshaw Boulevard, which was Daryl Dent's house, and Spook's crib off 78th. And throughout these meetings, certain things were getting appointed. So this is where everybody's role was getting appointed to them, whether they was going to be a driver, running up in the store. Daryl Dent's role was already played out. Again, he's an older dude. He wasn't going in the store. He's strictly waiting for the package to come back to him to sell the watches to the buyer. Now, at this time, they would also buy materials. On every play, for the most part, they were buying new gloves, new masks, new sledgehammers, new everything for the runners to use going up into the store. So all that shit was passed out, and it was decided that J-Bone and Spook were going to lead the charge into the spot. Javon Walker being the getaway driver in the stolen vehicle, and Concrete was going to be in the switch car. So a lot of the times they would use 2 to 3 vehicles, one stolen vehicle to get the runners into the location and in and out of the location. Once they got out of the location, they would take the merchandise, put it in one car, and the runners will go into a separate getaway car. Very organized play, very well thought out. And this is how they were able to sustain a run that they did. So it jumps off August 3rd, 2014. J-Bone runs inside. The female employee that was on the floor that day said she felt like J-Bone was about to crack her in the head with the sledgehammer when he came in. And they got cracking on the display cases. Now, after the robbery, a security guard that followed them in the stolen car, they ditched the car in the middle of the road, left behind the mask and the gloves inside the vehicle, and J-Bone also left his left glove and his mask at the scene. Now, when they got back to 78th, you know, they got to separate the glass from the jewelry. The take ended up being $250,000, a long shot away.
You see what I'm talking about? This is exactly what I'm talking about, bro. For y'all that's out there, for you YNs out there that want to go hit a skit, go do a demo with one of your partners or something, make sure you understand that you know the people you got going on the missions with you with. Because all it takes is for one person to leave a glove or to leave something, they get in that interrogation room and they Spooky Johnson. And you better believe anyone could be compromised. He'll be your homie today and a snitch tomorrow. Stop playing, bro. You don't know him like that. Let's go.
From that lonely Daytona Rolex on them track star robberies, these dudes hit big. But you know there's always 2 parts of a play. It's cops and robbers. While they count up the loot, the cops are collecting that evidence left over at the scene. And of course, you know, it goes into processing. Now, overall, they got 19 used Rolexes and 11 rings. And it was time to implement Daryl Dent and the buyer, an individual named Tony Gold. Now, some game on a buyer like this, you have to have rapport with your buyers. Nobody's coming up, meeting you and giving you a bunch of racks without making sure y'all business dealing is going to be solid. Over the years, Daryl had been dealing with Tony Gold for all his little activities he was participating in. This is how you have a buyer not only willing to meet you somewhere, but bring the right amount of cash. Everything just goes smooth when you have a trusted buyer. Tony Gold is that. So everybody's scared of getting gypped. Nobody wants to lose out on their money. So Daryl Dent calls an individual named Charles Mays, who has a cargo van, and everybody piles up in it, goes to West Hollywood. The merchandise reaches Tony Gold, and the money comes back. J-Bone and Spook make 5 bands each for running into the store. Daryl Dent, Concrete, Javon Walker, and DeAndre Johnson each get 3 racks each. So if there was no funny business on the back end, if nobody was keistering funds, they made 22 racks off a $250,000 haul, which I would say is a bad return on the...
Man, I want y'all to look at them numbers real fast. I want y'all to look at them numbers. J-Bone, $5,000. Spook, $5,000. Darrell, $3,000. Concrete, $3,000. Javon, $3,000. DeAndre, $3,000. Come on, homie. Come on, bro. You say I did what? I ran inside the store. I set it off. Jada Pickett, Queen Latifah. What? 3,000? Come on, homie. Come on. Off of a quarter M. A quarter M. And you mean to tell me these niggas, nobody got a watch? Nothing. $3,000. That's crazy. Let's go.
Investment, but sometimes the game does go like this. That's just what it is. Now everything seems to quiet down after this. This was a big move for these dudes. This is their first official play. After pulling some shit together like this, everybody got a little bit of money in their pocket. I'm sure they started to assess the risk and they chilled out for a little bit. Going into the mindset of doing these plays and shit, everything is moving so fast and everything is cool, especially when you got your money. But after a period of time, that adrenaline wears off and you start going through different things about if and where you messed up. It's a lot that goes on in the lifestyle of criminality. Not everything is easily digested. Even for career criminals or hardened criminals, you always got to assess your risk. Not saying that's what these dudes did, but they took a break and resurfaced exactly 1 year later to the date. August 3rd, 2015, they're in Canoga Park at Edward George Jewelers. Now, prior to this, Daryl Dent was scoping this place out. He took trips up to Canoga Park to assess the inventory as well as the guards. But this time, some of them starters was in the mix of this as well. Justin J. Stone Henny and Dominic Bones Calloway from Compton are now inserted into this move. This was before E-Mac from Carver hit the scene. So at the meeting, it was decided that Dominic Calloway was going to be the one to run up in the store and play guard control. And he was going to be accompanied by Justin Henning popping into Edward George Jewelers. They also had a random dude on this play who the paperwork referred to by the name of Johnny. And he's one of many unindicted co-conspirators on these moves. But August 3rd, 2015, they put the play in motion and they seemingly had some growing pains with this one. Not as big as they last one, new players involved, but it still goes off without a hitch. Dominic Calloway jumps inside, puts a whole bottle of pepper spray onto the employee inside of Edward George. The employee's crawling around and they start breaking glass. On this one, they hit for 60 racks in engagement rings and watches. And similar to J-Bone on the last move, Bones Calloway dropped his blood on the scene when smashing the glass. So now we got some more cookie crumbs being left on the trail. This is just the beginning, but as we know, this usually turns out to be the beginning of the end. But like the last one, they go back, count they shit, clockwork with Tony Gold. While they working, police collected this blood sample from the smashed glass. Now again, in the same month, August 15, right after this move, they had some opportunist shit going on. They robbed somebody in the Century City Mall in Century City for their Rolex. Just some small time shit, but they went to a third play in the same month, which takes us to August 24th, 2015, Gary's Rolex Boutique in the Century City Mall. Now, this is where Green Eyes, still sitting in the feds at this time, is really starting to point at the play. It said that he suggested this location and they started to put their eyes on it. Now, it said that they were onto this location due to the quality of inventory and the quantity of the inventory all the way back in 2013 when Daryl Dent GIs was busting into the phone stores. But they really started focusing on it July 2015, right before the Canoga Park robbery. And this is where some more familiar faces start to pop out. Daryl Dent is in communication with Tiny Bogey, and he requests Jay Stone, Justin Henning, and Dominic Bones Calloway again. Mind you, them dudes was just on the play 3 weeks earlier. But not only does Justin Henning come with Bones Calloway, Tiny Bogey brings in an individual named Marshawn Marshall, another bench warmer who goes by the name of Junior Manchester from Inglewood Family Gangsta Bloods. One of their young homies, he was 18 at the time. Now, you know, these dudes are sitting back and everybody's going through their credentials. Calloway spoke about another robbery that they tried to commit before the Edward George robbery in Canoga Park, where they spoke about himself, another individual from A-Track Gangsta, who I'm not gonna name because he's unindicted, and the more.
You know what's so crazy? That little nigga right there, I just seen his face. He looked little. You see what I'm saying? And you know what happened when you're an 18-year-old, you running with all these grown people, you put in your truck. I think this is the one we seen in the last one. This is the one that end up telling, right? That's the one that end up not getting no money or some shit. But even so, you got to look at it like this. These niggas risk their life for $3,000. It's no way, bro, that's nigga supposed to just accept that shit. Even if a nigga take that shit, nigga, man, that's crazy, bro. Somebody ain't making proper plays. Somebody is not, somebody tucking something. I be tripping, bro. You mean to tell me I would go sit down and do 10, 12 years for $3,000? Come on, bro. Nigga, what you got in your pocket, nigga? You see what I'm saying? Like, fuck that. Everybody go pitch in, and whoever got the lowest amount, we better side together. Because the moment you accept that shit, you a crash dummy. Nigga got to speak up, homie. It's no way. I don't care, 18, 19, 20, nigga, $3,000. You mean I went inside that motherfucker, turned it up, set it off, risked my life for $3,000. That's what you mean? That's what I'm worth, nigga? That's what you telling me I'm worth? Yeah, I'm gonna rob you. I'm gonna book you, nigga. I'm gonna be on some shit like that. Hey, Keisha. Hey, yeah, this nigga finna be at the bar, man. I want you to go have some drinks with this nigga. Get him drunk. Put that whoop-de-whoop in his drink. And then, get him to the car. I'm gonna tie him up. And I'm gonna make that nigga take me where the stash at. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's how I come at it, nigga. Come on, bro. Like, hell no, nigga. You play me, I'm gonna play you. I'm not just accepting nothing from no nigga. Nigga, you trying to, nigga, come on, fool. Like, take one time to show me how you get down, and I'm gonna play ball with you.
Was unsuccessful, and another member from Inglewood family named Jeremy Widget Tillett, who went inside with Calloway. They said they got spooked and they ran out. And this is what led Calloway to being a part of the Canoga Park robbery, because he missed. Now, to scout the location out, Junior Manchester, Bones Calloway, and they had another individual on this play now named Pac-Man. They scout the location out, and Pac-Man takes Daryl Dent back to the location to look at it again, and they speak about dudes from BPS and what route that they plan to take. So BPS dudes was plotting on this situation as well. And Daryl decided to take a page out of the Black P. Stone's book and adopted their exit plan. And this is when another top dude comes on the scene, Stanley Baldy Ford, Inglewood neighborhood Pyru, and he's in charge of getting a weapon to handle the guard. So in all, we got Daryl Dent, Bones Calloway, Concrete again from Hoover, Tiny Bogey, Baldy, and Junior Manchester present at the meeting. Now, Bones Calloway also brings a rifle to the party for good measure. The stolen vehicle of choice on this move, Toyota Camry that Tiny Bogey and Concrete had lifted off the street right before the move, and they pressed play. So on the day of August 24th, 2015, security guard Damian Dupree, standing at 6'3", is sitting inside of Gary's Rolex boutique in Century City when he yells, "They coming, they coming." And he tries to lock the door on these dudes. And this is when a shot is let off. These dudes bust through the door and shoot one of the glass displays. Now, Calloway is inside, Henning is inside, Marshall is driving a stolen car, Concrete in the secondary car, and Stanley Ford in the final getaway car, with everybody else sitting back waiting for the play to go green. They're in and out in less than 2 minutes, and they hit for 40 watches in total, totaling $1.6 million on their second big take in their organized plan. Now, they ditched the Camry about 70 yards from the robbery, left it with the doors open and it's still running. And inside the vehicle, they left a ski mask and a Century City Mall parking lot ticket. And again, they take these items into evidence. Now, a worker from the store recounted an event 6 days earlier where he identified a man from a photo lineup as being Dominic Bones Calloway, who came in asking about.
Man, what y'all think? What nigga left to drop the parking ticket every time? Yeah, y'all. This the thing. What you say is like, yeah, nigga, yeah, you got away with it. You know what I'm saying? But you know how them aeroids do it. It's only a matter of time. They finna come get up on your onion. About time you go get that shit, turn it into cash. What's to happen? What's you know what normally happen? Nigga go get a car, a jewelry, a motorcycle. Niggas start to go buy shit they ain't never had. They ain't gonna go tuck their money away. They not gonna even go put nothing up for a lawyer. I'm pretty sure majority of these dudes that get cracked, man, they going out with a public defender. They rather spend their money on materialistic shit that's not, you know, some shit that is materialistic that you can't take with you. When you go to the pen, you can't take that jewelry with you. You can't take that motorcycle, that car. You can't take none of that shit with you. I'm pretty sure. Right hand. I bet majority of them, not all of them, I'm pretty sure one or two, but majority of them, they fought their case with a public defender. Let's go.
Watches. Now, remember on the last move, August 3rd, Calloway dropped his blood at the Edward George Jewelers in Canoga Park. And it turns out that the mask that they left in the Camry also had a DNA match to Calloway. So you know them people wanted to talk to him. Now, Baldy from NHP calls Dent after they make the final drop, and he says everything was green. They meet again in West Hollywood to take the inventory to Tony Gold, but this time they win the underground parking garage to try to throw off GPS. Now, I don't know about that one. I wouldn't trust it. I don't think it works, but those were the precautions that they were trying to take in this situation. They said they had been watching the news and saw some people getting caught because of the trackers. Like we said in the last video, them trackers usually be in that soft cushion in the watch that's on display underneath the watch face. So they tossed all of them cushions out and of course kept the watches. Now this is when it came time to split the bread up. The whole take off of $1.6 million, they cashed out with $310,000 August 24th, 2015 off 40 watches. Now Dent, again, he sits back, older homie. He waits for the phone call to catch the buyer. He takes 130 racks. Paid Junior Manchester and Baldy 15 racks each, checks himself into the Lowe's Hotel, starts taking pictures with the money. Another individual who went inside named Deb.
Come on,
makes off
man.
with 50 racks. Dominic Calloway makes off with 50 racks. Secondary.
Come on. Oh, come on, man. Junior Manchester. Oh, driver. Okay. The driver get 15. Okay. Torpedo get 50. All right. So this one, the torpedo, they got the issue. The planner, Darrell Dent, nigga, 130,000. Woo! See that? I gotta be a planner, bro. I'm not the hell no, bro. I'm too smart for all that shit, bro. But yeah, man. Yeah. Let's go, man. It's crazy.
Driver Concrete 15 racks. Tiny Bogey gets 65,000, shoots a dub to J Stone, and spends some money on a motorcycle and a bond he had to pay off. Now, J Stone was worried about Dominic Calloway because again, Calloway keeps going inside on these moves, so they had to make sure he was paid properly. Daryl Dent, once he checks into the Lowe's Hotel, he buys a key of powder, starts busting it down, and he hightails it to the Mayweather and Andre Berto fight and moves his ass to Anaheim. These niggas was high sight. Now, the jack of all trades, J-Bone, was in New York at the time, I believe headed to Haiti. He called Dent and said the hood was talking about they move. You know, he was looking for a little chili on the back end. Dent sent them 500 for his travels, and Concrete was feeling the type of way about his cut. Mind you, he was a secondary driver, only made 15 racks off of these dudes hitting for upwards of 300,000. So he feeling the type of way, and Green Eyes instructs these dudes to give some money to his wife to take care of him while he's sitting down in the feds. Everything's lovely right now. And less than a month later, here we are, October 18th, 2015, at Frederick H. Rubble in Mission Viejo. And this proved to be a pivotal point in this whole operation. Now, this same location they hit about 6 months prior with a track star robbery. Green Eyes was involved in that, so this is why they were familiar with this location and figured out that they can run it up again in this spot. Now, Concrete, feeling funny about the money from the last move, he removed himself and his ass quickly got back into the fold when they planned this robbery in Mission Viejo, and he's ready to go. And it starts off with Tiny Bogey and Dent riding up on their new motorcycles to scout Mission Viejo out. You know they feeling good. They checking everything, and Charles Mays and Baldy also take a trip to scout everything as well. And this is where they pick the parking structure to be their place of exit on this move. Now again, them starters is on play. Tiny Bogey and J Stone are back recruiting people. And this is when they come up with Devin Snoop Howard, another player off the bench. Inglewood family, 18 years old, the young homie. He's the...
You know what? They change up their players too much, bro. Man, that's man, niggas gotta, man, everybody ain't battle tested. You know what I'm saying? Niggas going off a whim, like, yeah, he good. But nigga, nobody know nobody. That was the number one thing. If I'm going to go do something, I'm going to go do some shit that I'm going to hang around you at least 2, 3, 4 months. Watch how you move, how you handle yourself. Shit, I might even follow you home. I might just follow you home, see how you carry yourself. I might be parked outside. You know what I'm saying? You outside chilling with your family. I'm that type of nigga. I'm going to watch you. You know what I'm saying? See how you move. Tint on the windows, study you. You know what I'm saying? If you got a job, I go wait outside the job and see where you go. You go to a bar, wait outside, wait till you come back, see how you carrying yourself. This is too many people on these jury lists, bro. And this is why they getting crumbs, because, you know, you with the jury, like, you know, the dealer, the buyer is not finna spend what the actual price of that watch is. That diamond ring and all that shit. Come on, bro. Yeah, that's out.
The runner, Stanley Baldy Ford, the point man, again, the dude that looks out, make sure the coast is clear, and calls the green light when it's time to press play, and these dudes jump inside. They got Junior Manchester back on it. He's also going into the store with Snoop Howard. And Concrete was appointed as the final car driver to take over the backpack after the play. Again, like I said, when the play was done, jumping out of the stolen car, the backpack goes one way, the players go the other way, and it goes down. They pop up in the store. Again, another big take, 40 Rolexes and some assorted jewelry worth about $600,000, and they out of there. But this time, Junior Manchester ended up holding on to the bag and not sliding into that final getaway car, and they get the move. Now, while they escaping from the scene in a Chevy Tahoe, the stolen vehicle, a police officer involved in the situation calls an individual by the name of Ryan Stearman, a special agent with the ATF. 34 years old at the time, he's leaving an undercover job in Orange County already. His phone rings. They say it's a 211 that just went down in nearby Mission Viejo, and they said the getaway car is heading north on the 405. He hit his lights and he's on his way. Now back to Concrete and Junior Manchester. Concrete called JM and tells him he saw some vehicles that he felt were suspicious. He said he seen some cars about 20-30 minutes earlier, and he just ran into the same cars. So he tells JM to throw some of the watches out the window because he believes there's a tracker on them. And JM throws hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of watches out onto the 405 freeway. And guess who's there to pick them up? ATF Special Agent Ryan Stearman. He recovers 26 Swiss watches scattered along the shoulder, surrounded by glass and broken taillights, but nobody was caught at the scene. Now, these dudes still made a little bit of money for this. Everybody came off with about $3,000 each. Like I said, hundreds of thousands of dollars was left on the table because of the tracking devices. But some things...
Bro. Nigga, you mean to tell me a nigga ran inside a jewelry store, nigga set it off? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. They probably had enough time, man, to really, niggas, you know, check them boxes, but niggas got paranoid and threw all that shit out. Come on, $3,000? Yeah, bro.
Things start catching up with people. November 4th, 2015, a couple weeks after the robbery, Dominic Calloway is arrested, as well as 18-year-old Devin Snoop Howard. And the individual named Levon Tippett also went down for stealing the Tahoe that they used on the play. Now, they conducted an interview of Calloway. He said he wasn't there, of course, but they had his DNA from the August 3rd Canoga Park robbery, and they had his DNA from the August 24th Gary's Rolex robbery. So his world started to crumble, but while he goes down, an MVP is getting out the feds. December 2015, G.I.'s is released from federal custody, and this is when they really start to play ball. So the top of the new year, G.I.'s waste no time. Dent picked the location, and now, since Dominic Calloway has went down, this is when Emac from Eastside Carver steps in as the muscle. And Emac is recruited by Dent. So they put him right into the fold. Dent, Emac, Baldy, Tiny Bogey, and Charles Mays start scouting the location. Again, Baldy being the point man to call it when it's green, Emac now has the title of a grabber. Now, he was looking for a job at this time, couldn't find one, ended up getting in contact with Daryl Dent and got himself a contract with the team. And on January 2nd, 2016, this is when they press play on Ben Bridge Jeweler in Santa Monica. Now, this is G.I.'s first play. He's crawling before he's walking, but he's still present. And just like the last move, they choose another Tahoe, which is starting to become an identifier to ATF Special Agent Ryan Stearman. But along with Emac, they got some peace treaty going on. Like I told you, Emac from Eastside Carver, they got some young dudes from Eastside Bounty Hunter Watts to run up in the store with Emac, and they looking to win. Now, Emac being fresh, I don't know if he didn't trust these dudes, but he employs his own driver. He said he got his own way to the skit and his own way out. So he doing his own thing, but the dudes from Bounty Hunter is recruited by none other than J Stone. But the peace treaty didn't last long between Emac and the young dudes from Bounty Hunter. They get inside Ben Bridge, and the dudes from Bounty Hunter got spooked. They hit the glass 2 to 3 times, dropped the hammers, and ran out. They didn't create a hole big enough for a hand to fit through. The play went all bad. Now you got Emac complaining about these dudes being amateurs. And they were, because they took the Tahoe back to the Nickerson Gardens and ended up going down in it shortly after that. Now, since they missed, 5 days later, Tiny Bogey gives Dent a pistol. He's so thirsty, he's looking to strong arm somebody. Luckily, they didn't come up with nothing because, like I said, those are some opportunist-ass crimes that end people up in the wrong positions fairly quick. But while they working, they had another crew separate from everybody in this situation who was seemingly watching them. Another crew hit South Coast Plaza, Orange County Mall, in the same fashion, smash and grab, getting off with 133 Rolex watches worth more than $2 million. And police find a Chevy Impala about a mile away from the scene abandoned. Again, same mask, same MO, sweatshirts. So you know what the time bandits had to do, man. They couldn't let these niggas one-up them. A couple days later, January 22nd, 2016, 4 p.m., they in Woodland Hills at Manya Jewelry. Now, this is when a popular dude in Inglewood gets into the play. A dude named Daggum, an individual that sadly lost his life, I believe on the same day Draco lost his life, where he was killed in Inglewood off La Brea in 2021. Now, Daggum had connections to G.I.'s. G.I.'s told Dent to take Daggum on the move because he has a clean look. Now, Daggum, a real Inglewood dude before Dent came around and all that shit, this was a young homie over there. And Daggum, because of the clean look, he's able to get closer into the store. He pops in as the scout, saying that he saw Rolexes in the spot. Now, G.I. suggested that they take Daggum on the move, on the full move, but I don't think they ended up going through with that. Now, along with Daggum, Baldy, and Dent also went to scout this situation out. And Calloway, 2 months after going down with his DNA being found at 2 other robbery scenes, is back on the move, going inside. Now, because of what they seen with the security guard, they needed a weapon, but everybody was complaining about not wanting the weapon in the same whip as the jewelry and all that shit. So they had Concrete transport the firearm, and Baldy drove the players to the scene this time. Now, along with Bones Calloway, some unnamed individuals popped into Mania Jewelry, and the female employee saw them come and hit the panic button. She's on the phone with the owner of the jewelry store telling them they being robbed. Bones Calloway put the pistol to her head and tell her to hang that shit up and lay her down. And they ended up hitting for 3 Rolexes, a Rolex Oyster, a date yacht, and a Rolex Oyster Perpetual Datejust with the limited edition blue dial. They hit for 1 Omega and some other jewelry, overall coming out with approximately $200,000 in jewelry out of Woodland Hills. Now, like I said, Tony Gold, the main buyer in this, I've spoke about buyers in our previous videos about these dudes at one point are gonna fold. That's just what it is. They're not really a part of the game. They're taking advantage of niggas, hitting people over the head with the prices. And when shit go bad, they go bad. Now, everything hasn't blown up yet, but Tony Gold is somewhat becoming more distant with Daryl. And he has a middleman meeting with Daryl, not really dealing with him and answering his calls properly. But they ended up getting the jury to him, and they ended up bringing about 12 to 15 racks total, which came out to about 3 racks apiece. And this was the first successful robbery that G.I.'s was a part of now that he was out fresh into the streets. And when he touched this money, this is when the robberies start to ramp up. These dudes seemingly was on a robbery once a week after this. So that was January 22nd, February 7th pull up, Super Bowl Sunday, 11:30 in the morning, another Ben Bridge in Thousand Oaks. Now, Brown Eyes Kenneth Paul, who again was around in 2014, is back on the scene. J-Bone is back in the fold. The usual, Baldy is present, and Dent goes with the 3 of them to scout Ben Bridge out. Now, they were initially going to scout Ulysses Harden because when they scouted Ben Bridge previously, there was a security kiosk outside of the spot. Now, when they went back, the security kiosk was gone, so they said this was the spot. Now, the runners inside, J-Bone and Brown Eyes, set to be the torpedoes, one with the hammer, one grabbing. Jeremy Tillett, Widget, employed as the driver because he had his own vehicle. We also got G.I.'s and Concrete. G.I.'s planned it with Dent on the back end outside of the play, and Concrete being the switch car driver. Charles Mays being the lead car to lead Concrete back safely to the spot where the handoff of the bag goes to Dent. This time, the stolen car that they used, Black Suburban, and these Chevys keep showing up. So 11:30 Super Bowl Sunday morning, a female of Ben Bridge is on the phone with her daughter, telling her the chicken wing recipe for the Super Bowl party, when Brown Eyes and J-Bone pop in with a Spanish accent and say this is a robbery. They get her off the phone and do their business, hitting for 37 Rolexes, making out with a retail value of $300,000. Now, everything made it into Dent's hands from Concrete properly, and Dent took him to the buyer. The buyer comes back with an offer of $35,000. About 10% of the retail value. When G.I.'s hears this, he says no. And this is what I talk about with Bogart politics and things like that. Shit be getting tricky. G.I.'s been sitting down this whole time. They've been taking what they needed. You know what I'm saying? And this is what I talked about with these play extenders. Now, he says no. He wants the jury to come to his crib. Not only you drive from Thousand Oaks to West Hollywood, you're supposed to leave the merchandise there. The jeweler had to take the merchandise wherever he took it to assess it. They asked for the jewelry back. Now you got to take it from West Hollywood to 84th and Western. That's a play extender. This shit should have been over, especially for what happened afterwards. G.I.'s gets it, separates all the jewelry, he assesses it, and he figures out 35 was the accurate number and to go ahead and take the offer. Now they got to drive it back to West Hollywood and take the 35. Jeremy Tillett, Widget ended up getting 7 bands along with pretty much everybody else that was on the play, which was a fair move. G.I. said he wanted everybody's pay to line up. No funny business, but he falls out with Concrete because he accused Concrete of keystering the watch. He said he think a watch is missing, and Concrete, being the car that drives the watch to Daryl, was the lone suspect. So G.I.'s Concrete fall out. G.I.'s fires Concrete from Hoover, terminates his contract, and he said it really stems from his bad judgment and mishandling the work. Remember, Concrete had Junior Manchester throw out hundreds of $1,000s of watches on the 405. So this is what led to Concrete getting his contract expired. But 10 days later, here they are at West Time Jewelers in West Hollywood. This time, Tiny Bogey's the lead. Now at this time, as you see, these dudes are on quite a run, and some things start to change up. Dudes out here busting side missions. Daryl Dent had got out for a side robbery. He was out on bond. Some other dudes had active warrants, and some things started to change up. Daryl opted not to drive anymore in his own vehicle. He wanted to ride with people. So when they started plotting on West Time and West Hollywood, he rode with Baldy to scout the location. Tiny Bogey, again, was the lead on this one. He had some little females that he recruited to scout, sent the females inside to assess the inventory. E-Mac, chosen for guard control again with the stick. And Jay Stone, again, top recruiter, got them young dudes from Hoover as the runners. Now, Jay Stone was trying to separate himself from the situation in terms of taking a more leadership position. Like I said, A lot of the older dudes was trying to kick back like Green Eyes and Dent and just send dudes off. So Jay Stone had to drive on this play. He didn't really want to do it, upset about it. He felt like it was too risky. But many times on many different robberies, Tiny Bogey, like I said, the on-site manager, was the one in niggas' ears really pressing the issue about what role they was going to play. So the play was supposed to jump off February 16, 2016. The first trip, West Palm was closed by the time they got there, so they stayed in a motel that night. Now, Dent had court in the morning, so he couldn't attend the show. So again, this fully put Tiny Bogey with running the shit under GI supervision. Now, the young dudes from Hoover get up in there with E-Mac and lay the security down and strip him of his revolver and got him out the way. It was 3 people total entering the store. And the operations manager was training the new employee at the time. These dudes popped in, he turns around, it's a gun in his face, and he's being asked if he want to die today. And in total, they hit for 18 Audemars watches, totaling approximately $575,000. And some more cookie crumbs were left on the scene. A yellow hard hat, a sledgehammer, and a baseball cap was left behind, and police hit it with the DNA kit, also known as the Bold kit.
Oh, no.
Different robberies. Tiny Bogey, like I said, the on-site manager.
That's crazy. They didn't left so much DNA, so much digital footprints. I know this shit sounds smooth. I know a lot of niggas like, damn, them niggas hidden. You gotta realize you hit for 500,000. That buyer, he's gonna 500,000 because this is watches. You know what I'm saying? They gotta recalibrate, melt shit down, burn VIN numbers and codes and all that shit. 500,000. I give y'all 150,000, 200,000, maybe 80,000. It all depends. You know what I'm saying? Niggas is risking their life for some crumbs. And you know, a nigga go $5,000-$10,000 in hundreds. Yeah, it's gonna look chunky. But nigga, you'll blow 10 bands like that, bro. 10,000 will go so fast, man. A lot of niggas be thinking they up. Back in 2000, well, no, this is 2015. Yeah, around that time, 10 stacks. Yeah, you all right. But 2026, 10,000? Yeah, nah, it ain't even worth it.
Was the one in niggas' ears really pressing the issue about what role they was gonna play. So the play was supposed to jump off February 16, 2016. The first trip, West Palm was closed by the time they got there, so they stayed in a motel that night. Now, Dent had court in the morning, so he couldn't attend the show. So again, this fully put Tiny Bogey with running the shit under GI supervision. Now, the young dudes from Hoover get up in there with E-Mac and lay the security down and strip him of his revolver and got him out the way. It was 3 people total entering the store. And the operations manager was training the new employee at the time. These dudes popped in, he turns around, it's a gun in his face, and he's being asked if he want to die today. And in total, they hit for 18 Audemars watches, totaling approximately $575,000. And some more cookie crumbs were left on the scene. A yellow hard hat, a sledgehammer, and a baseball cap was left behind, and police hit it with the DNA kit, also known as the Bold kit. They swabbed all the pieces of evidence and took him in. Now, ATF Special Agent Ryan Stearman is at home sick February 17, 2016, when the LA County Sheriff's deputy hits his phone. He'd been telling people if they see anything about these robberies, tap in with him regardless. He don't want to overtake it. He just want to assist. This is what the sheriffs did, tapped into his phone as soon as West Time was hit. He jumps into the car and rushes to the scene. And when he gets there, he learns sheriff deputies apprehended a 22-year-old dude from Hoover named Pancho, who crashed his getaway car, another stolen Chevy Tahoe. Now, when he sat down in that room, Pancho immediately admitted to being inside the store and being the one that bagged the watches up. When Stearman asked him who put him up to it, he said he was no snitch. And I quote, he said, "I'm willing to sacrifice." Now, after Stearman pressed on him, he said this was the ATF investigating a federal crime in conspiracy to interfere with interstate commerce by robbery. He said most of West Time's jewelry and merchandise comes from Switzerland. This is why it's now a federal case. And Pancho is playing with the big boys, looking at least 15. Stearman pulled the violin out and start talking about how them niggas don't care about him, how they already forgot about him, how they was gonna leave him inside. Pancho start crying. He said it was all planned, but it wasn't planned by him. And he said he was recruited by none other than Justin J. Stone Henning himself. And you know, this put a smile on Ryan Stearman's face that day, because when he looked up Justin Henning, he found them Inglewood family gangster blood connections. And he showed Pancho a mugshot. Henning's face was pointed out in that room that day. Now, going through Inglewood family's history, they were able to link J. Stone to Keith G.I.'s Walton and the Crenshaw Manchester terrorists, the CMT gang. And also, another one of Stearman's informants had also put a former professional baseball player named Daryl Dent Jr. on Stearman's radar. And now they started getting traction. But back after the West Time robbery, these dudes meet with the buyer, sell these Audemars, make about 60 racks. Not only did that dude from Hoover go down, they were also caught on camera the evening prior doing the scout and pulling the door to see if the doors was open. Those females that Tiny Bogey had enlisted to scout. Now, E-Mac was upset because he felt like he was getting less than some other people when he was putting more work in. Again, E-Mac is going in there, busting a gun, stripping niggas of their gun, playing the muscle, and doing some heavy lifting, not just grabbing the watches. So he's upset about his take. But that doesn't stop them, because 3 days later, they in the Glendale Galleria at Bendy's Jewelers. Now, G.I.'s Dent and a female scout had put their eyes on this location, and they was looking for Rolexes. Dent, like I said, had that new motorcycle. He was buying a bunch of shit. He pulls up in his new Chevy Silverado that he bought the same day that they came over here to Bendy's Jewelers. Now, they had everybody together. Widget was back on the play. E-Mac, J-Bone, J-Stone, Tiny Bogey. And now they had these two new little players coming off the bench. Tiny Bogey got his little homie, Junior Bogey. Wilson Alima, a.k.a. F-Nut, 24 at the time, Inglewood family gangster bloods. And they got a dude named Shane Lewis, a.k.a. Hangout, who was also 24 at the time, from Inglewood family gangster bloods. So they assembled a team. They did all their scouting, did everything properly, but they were initially worried about the security guard. Now, Bogey bought the strap to the play. Junior Bogey and Hangout was supposed to run inside. You know, the young dudes. E-Mac was back in control of the weapon. Dent went back on his own word, drove his motorcycle to the play. But when they was just about to run in there, they did one final look through. There was an armed security, mall security, and a lone police officer in the mall. They called it off. And all the while, some shit was going on the under with G.I.'s Walton and his lawyer. While Ryan Stearman is gathering evidence, putting his shit together on the IFGs, Keith Green Eyes Walton and his attorney request a meeting. The attorney said Walton, who was facing a federal gun possession charge, hoped to reduce his sentence by providing helpful information about other crimes. And that was corroborated because GIs also went to Daryl Dent and told him, hey, give me the full names of the people that were involved in the Century City robbery, where they hit for $1.6 million on August 24th, 2015. Remember, GIs was in the federal custody at that time. He was looking to leverage that case and the people in that case to get his gun charge sentence reduced in the feds. Dent gives him the name of Dominic Calloway and names everybody else involved. He told Dent right there that if he needed.
What y'all notice about this, gang? It's always the top dog. The top dog. It's always the top dog who's sitting at the top, politicking, giving orders, and who get what. When they get caught, you better believe they gonna get your ass up. Now, it was youngsters on there that made $3,000. It was people that didn't rightfully get what they deserve. You see what I'm saying? So Green Eyes and Daryl Dent, these is the top dogs, the planners. Now y'all swapping this, now y'all playing God. Now y'all get, we go tell on these niggas, man. I got you, but we go tell on these niggas, bro. You know what I'm saying? We trying to know, these niggas young, bro. You know, all that weird shit. It's crazy to me because I've never seen nothing different. It's always the top dogs who be the ones that fold or told in these type of situations. Let's go.
He was going to snitch to get his time cut. Ryan Stearman said he sat down with GIs as well as an assistant U.S. attorney, Scott Tinley, and they said G.I.'s was in there arrogant. G.I. spoke about the track star robbery, said he used to do it. He was laughing about certain people being torpedoes, and he spoke about some crimes that happened. When he got back to Dent, he told him they grilled him hard. He was sweating bullets, and he told
Who's training the new guy? What do you mean he didn't show up?
Managing with Connect Team would be a whole lot easier.
told Dent that the feds bought his name up. Now, the feds caught on to what he was trying to do because on February 29th, the armed robbery of Ben Bridge in Torrance in the Delamo Mall at 10:30 in the morning went down. G.I.'s was using his conversation with the feds as a distraction and as an alibi to separate himself from the robberies. So before the play went down on February 29th, G.I.'s calls Dent, tells him come down to his pop's tow yard to run the play from there. He wanted himself and Daryl Dent to be away from the play and let Tiny Bogey lead everything. He said they was gonna sit in his pop's office, and he gave Daryl Dent the videotape of them in the office to prove as an alibi of them not being involved in this armed robbery. And the thing is, G.I.'s put this play into motion. His homie Tommy had told him this spot looked good, and a lot of the planning was done at G.I.'s house. G.I.'s essentially was setting these dudes up because he did not make anybody aware other than Dent of him talking to the feds and them being onto everything that's going on. Now, amidst the planning, he had people put in money for them to go fetch a stolen car, and they planned Ben Bridge looking for some Rolexes. Now, again, Tiny Bogey being the lead, he appointed everybody to their spot. Hangout Lewis was going inside the store. Another dude coming off the bench, Av Boy from Inglewood Avenue, Pyru. Scott, E-Mac, back as the gunman, going inside the store with Hangout. This time, J-Bone was gonna be the last driver to collect the merchandise. J-Stone was gonna be the backup driver, secondary on the play. And to go in with Hangout and E-Mac, they needed one more little homie, an individual named Cornell Steven, aka Bully Badass, also from Inglewood Family Gangsta Bloods, 21 at the time. Now, he thought he was gonna be a driver. It was sold to him by J-Bone that he was gonna be driving. When he met up at the spot with Tiny Bogey looked at him and said, boom, you going inside. And this is what I mean by them dudes sending their little homies. Now, again, this play happened on February 29th. It was supposed to go down February 28th, but when they got there, E-Mac said it didn't look right with the security guard. Tiny Bogey pressed these dudes. His little homie was trying to get out of it. He was calling him a buster for not wanting to participate.
Buster ass nigga. Yeah, a little scary. See, that's peer pressure right there. You see what I'm saying? Like, when you looking at these type of licks, gang, you gotta have 100% total faith that they know what they're doing. Your life is in these dudes' hands involving a play like this or this altitude, my nigga. You should be knowing who you doing this business with, because a lot of these young niggas, oh, that's the older homie, got some money. Hey, I'm with it, bro, I'm down. And a nigga would just, he don't even care if it's been thought out, what's the play, what's the script. He just want to get put on. You see what I'm saying? Not knowing, nigga, it's like gambling at Las Vegas casino, nigga. It's a hit or miss. You go lose at least 5 or 6, 7 times before you hit big. And a lot of these cats out there right now are catching these cases. It's 2026, bro. I highly doubt, the smash and grab game is still popular because they got technology that you drive on one street, it'll follow you all the way back down to your house. You know what I'm saying? These cameras, they can track you all the way. They can actually scan your license plate and see how many times you take Figueroa or Imperial or Western or Rosecrans. It can literally tell you how many times you've been driving down those main streets because those cameras is right there. So I'm saying, so yeah, man, this game is so cold, man. A lot of these dudes was in the circus. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, these niggas, it sound good. Oh, they nigga hit for 1.6 million. Theoretically, you like, damn, 1.6 million. Oh, wait a minute, them niggas own something. But they're not telling you that the buyer is only giving them $80,000 because they still gotta get the motherfuckers off. They ain't even made their money back. So they taking $60K off of a $500,000 lick. You know what I'm saying? Off of $6 million, they taking 300,000. Like, yeah, man, that's. Y'all make sure y'all talk to y'all little homies, your sons and all that shit. Cause while you at work and shit, you think you know your son is probably listening to somebody else out there in them streets. And while you at work, that nigga might hit a afternoon lick. You get off work, come home, that nigga in jail looking at life.
And he said, what's the difference of security being there today? Because they're going to be there tomorrow. Eventually, they called it off for that day, and they popped back up February 29th. So they pop in the store. Emac pistol whips the security guard and drops him, drags him into the store. The employee watches the whole thing. They lay him down and try to strip his watch off his wrist. It wouldn't come off, so they put the gun to his head, had him take it off. And they ended up coming up on 30 Rolexes and a bracelet worth approximately $450,000. But they also left some more shit at the scene. They dropped the sledgehammer. Police collected it into evidence. Now, after this robbery, they get out and they do the switch car at the Torrance Marriott. There was an individual at the Torrance Marriott parking lot that had watched them do the whole switch, and he felt something looked off. He seen the tires screeching, niggas talking about go, said it didn't look right, and he calls the police. Now, Junior Bogart is driving. He got Bully Badass and Hangout in his car. He pulls over, switches his plate. He had the paper plate on, put his real plate back on, and they got in the win. Now, as they driving, Ryan Stearman is on their way to the scene. They locate the getaway car and find a handwritten note inside with hood names on it. Bully Badass, Mac, Lil KO, Hangout, Nate. It was found inside the getaway car with each dude's phone number on it. And they end up catching up with Junior Bogey's car. And Bogey, Hangout, and Bully Badass go down. Now, as soon as that happened, GIs told everybody to block them dudes' number, block Junior Bogey number, stop communicating with them. And shit started to go bad between all these dudes, with Junior Bogey changing his name to CWC, Bully Badass changing his name to CWB, and Hangout changing his name to CWA. Confidential witnesses. And it was for sure gonna be bad anyway. As soon as Junior Bogey got to the county, he's calling J-Bone phone and is talking too much. Them niggas had to ask him, why you keep calling? And you gotta feel for that. You gotta understand. If you go down and your homies don't go down, stop calling. Don't be calling niggas' phones. For what? It's one call to somebody who was not associated to the situation. See if you can get bailed out, whatever. Don't call your homies that were with you on the play when you go down or if you go down. And they didn't go down. Junior Bogey's on his phone all emotional and shit, asking if he's gonna be good and telling niggas I love you and shit like that. Hey man, chill out. J-Bone was telling him his big homie was acting funny because that was at the direction of Green Eyes telling niggas to block their numbers. Don't talk to them dudes, they went down. They the young homies, they probably gonna go bad. This is big, he already knew. And on the other end, Bully Badass stated that he felt that Junior Bogey was going to start cooperating based on how he was breaking down in the car when they was getting pulled over. He said, I need to beat this dude to it. He started cooperating, and he sit in the room with Ryan Stearman. Stearman say Bully Badass looked terrified. He said he didn't know too much, but Hangout knew a little bit more. And once he realized he was facing federal time, he named Tiny Bogart as the individual that recruited him. They talked about Baldy, GIs, and Stearman knew it was a green light once they dropped GI's name. But they wasn't done yet. Now, just because them dudes went down, again, like I told you, they separated the merchandise from the runners. They went down, the merchandise didn't. They ended up selling that work. Bully Badass and Junior Bogey were never paid. And when he got on the stand, he felt like he was being used as some bait and a pawn. And he was scared because he was facing a mandatory of 7 years. So they ended up selling them Rolexes from Delamo Mall for 60 racks and split it up. Dent met J-Bone and got the watches off him, and this is when J-Bone told him that Junior Bogey got picked up. But they wasn't done. They was low-key far from done. So that was February 29th. March 9th, they back in Canoga Park at Ben Bridge. Again with the pistol, hammers, they hit for 36 Rolexes worth $600,000 and threw out the tracking device, which was found by LAPD. Right after this, Junior Manchester goes down for his DNA that was found all the way back on October 18th, 2015 in Mission Viejo. And 4 days after this, J-Bone, who's still operating outside, spearheads the team for another West Time jeweler in Malibu. Now this time, the vehicle of choice, white Kia Soul. They got Evan Emac Scott back on the play. This time he's back with the pepper spray, not the pistol. And the same operations manager that was training that employee at the other West Time, where they asked him if he wanted to die, he also was the operations manager of this West Time in Malibu. So when they jump in the store, Emac pepper sprays the shit out of the employee again. He's screaming on the phone with the operations manager, telling them that they being robbed. He was the only employee in the store. And this was sloppy on West Time. He probably could have sued West Time, because if you know this get down, retail stores can't open with one individual. You got to have a dude that got the keys, and you got to have somebody else. That's protocol. Now, I don't know if that's some newer shit. This was 2016, but he shouldn't have been the only employee in the store at that time. But they threw his iPhone in the trash, and they had some more females as lookouts on this one. The females had walked inside of a bikini store, which was the only other store open at that time. And after it all went down, the employee in that store said she felt like that was a throw off and they were distracting her from the robbery. Now, to go in with Evan Scott, J-Bone had also recruited somebody who ended up being confidential witness G, unindicted co-conspirator. And you see how shit's starting to close in. That dude was only paid $1,000 when J-Bone told him that the watches came back fake. They getting over on niggas and doing bad work. But that's because J-Bone went in as well with Emac, got his hands dirty. And they got off with Brightlands, Frank Mueller's, Audemars, Omegas, Hublots, hit for $1.4 million over here in Malibu. Now, Evan Scott, he was confronted by J-Bone and Dent. He keistered a watch. They was on him because he took too long to hand the bag over at the meetup. Shit went bad, and they got handled on the back end, only making a total of $45,000. Dent met up with GIs in the black Range Rover, and Dent said it's time to fire Emac from Carver Park, Compton. His contract gotta go. And everybody had tension with Emac after that. And by this time, with all these people snitching and going down and doing funny shit, they pinged Baldy's phone at one of the towers near 3 jewelry stores at the time each one was being robbed. And Stearman could see all the suspects were talking to one another on the days of the robbery. This is when he started putting up pole cameras on people's houses, watching their movements. And GIs, who was eventually told he needed to turn himself in to the feds in May, said he needed some more victories. He needed more successful heists. And that's where these dudes get cracking 3 weeks later, again in Santa Monica at Ben Bridge. Now, Dent planned this with Tiny Bogey and GIs. Again, GIs knew they was going down. He just needed some tuck money. I don't think he knew they was on to him about the jewelry store robberies. He was too worried about his gun sentence. Now, Junior Bogart went bad. Tiny Bogey brings in his lady homegirl, Lady Bogey, as well as Brown Eyes again, and some new players, Vincent Haynes and Brandon White. Lady Bogey requested to be the driver. Tiny Bogey, the final bag man. Haynes was the walker, but he was hesitant. You know how these young niggas be. They want to do the driving. They want to do everything but go inside that motherfucker. Tiny Bogey not having that. He sent Haynes' ass right up in the store. Haynes tried to call in sick, said he didn't want to do anything while he was sick. GIs begged him to participate. They called him a bitch for not being with it. Then he shows up on training day. Brown Eyes is the one that recruited these dudes, and Brown Eyes' girlfriend was also a driver on the play. Now, since these were new players off the bench, GIs gave them instruction on how to do it. They want to hit the display case from the inside, not in the front or the top. You got to jump the counter because the glass is most vulnerable where the sliding door is. They hit for 24 Tag Heuer watches worth $67,000. And this was officially the end of their run. They were arrested, leaving the location. April 24th, 2016. J-Bone goes down. Again, his DNA was found all the way back from their first move, August 3rd, 2014, where he left his left glove and his mask. His left glove had a DNA on the interior. The mask had the DNA on the back. He set up in that room with Detective David Rodriguez and kept it solid. Walton turns himself into the feds in May for his case, but June 16th, ATF and FBI start kicking in doors. They took down Daryl Dent, June 16th, 2016. They took down Jay Stone, who was staying on 78. When police got his phones, they said they got to put these phones in airplane mode. That's how the IT department wants it, so nothing can be altered before the IT department gets the phones. After all that money, he had $1,400 left on him. Dent, $0. Stanley Baldy Ford also went down. June 16, 2016. Kenneth Paul, Brown Eyes, isn't arrested until November 7th. The cookie fully crumbled over here, and it was over because when GIs thought that he was going to have to say something, Daryl Dent beat him to it, turned state's witness, cooperated on the stand.
Daryl Dent beat the nigga to the punch. See what I'm saying? GI, the top dog, Daryl Dent. Come on, bro. They not finna go to jail for these niggas. They think they better than everybody, man. That's why be careful, homie. Who you call your big homie, who you take instructions for, who you see as a leader, because it's always the nigga at the top that's gonna always look at you like a pawn. You see what I'm saying? And you out here seeking validation from a nigga who don't give two shits about you, homies. You got to be careful who you call your friends. You know what I'm saying? Because choosing the wrong homie can F up your whole life. You see what I'm saying? Niggas send you on a little burnt out mission, had you doing 15, 20 years, right? And these niggas tell on your ass, and nigga, they sent you on the mission. That's crazy. I bet you neither one. Nah, I bet you one of them go get no time. Let's go.
When Keith G.I.'s Walton, Robert Tiny Bogey Johnson, Justin J. Stone Henning, Evan E. Max Scott, Jameson J. Bone LaForest, and Jeremy Widget Tillett took it to trial. Them young dudes also took the stand. Junior Bogey, Hangout, Bully Badass. Dent cried on the stand. He was facing a mandatory minimum of 107 years. Federal agents moved his mom and his girlfriend and wrote a check to the new leasing office to get them out the way. When LaForest went down, they caught him on Google, asking Google how to invest money from the robbery. Tiny Bogey was trying to do all he could. He had stole a protective order document of one of...
Fucking idiots, bro. Fucking idiots, bro. That's why I'm saying niggas always bragging about who's the hardest. Nigga, who's the smartest? Because you could be hard as a rock, but be dumb as a motherfucking... Oh, man. Come on, man. Nigga, you Google... Oh. What? Come on, gang. This is embarrassing, bro. A lot of them niggas took the stand. A lot of them. Nigga, look, niggas, I was just practicing. 100 years? Nigga, I was about to make $3,000. You think I'm about to do 100 years? Them little niggas was like 100 years. Man, hey, man, if you know what I know, if you in your 30s, you shouldn't be going on no licks or doing no crimes with no 20-year-old little boy. These are iPad babies. These niggas grew up with iPhones, iPads, motherfucking Roblox and all that shit. They don't know about balled up bread with syrup, nigga. They don't know about, you know what I'm saying? Have to call the box to order a music video. They don't know nothing about no real struggle, bro. Their struggle is, mama, the Wi-Fi is off. That's their struggle. We grew up without Wi-Fi. Shit, y'all remember them first Apple computers? Big than a motherfucker, nigga. We didn't grow up with none of that shit. These iPad babies and shit. Mama, you can't afford Wi-Fi. It ain't no Wi-Fi in the... That's their problems. These little niggas cry about Wi-Fi. Soft ass nigga. Yeah, nigga had the sidekicks and AOL. We emailed each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, get the fuck out. Nigga, we had the two-way pagers. Nigga, it's no way in hell, nigga, I ever consider nigga getting there. That's why I say a nigga be like, oh man, nigga ain't out here fuck. I would never fuck with no nigga 20-something years old. I just don't. You live 20. If you're 20 years old right now to this day, nigga, you was not. See, I only fuck with people who was born in an era where there was no Wi-Fi. You understand what I'm saying? Where niggas had to go to a phone booth and put 25 cents in to make a phone call. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have no caller ID and all that shit. Man, come on, bro. Yeah, nah, nigga, we was born before caller ID. That's the type of motherfucker I'll be around. But all that new shit, nah, I'm cool.
The co-defendants named Fred Pittman, a random bench warmer. He had sent the note to a pastor and his mama, showing the paperwork and labeling him as a rat. He also sent it to his homies, and the paperwork was floating around the club saying Fred Pittman is a rat. But with Daryl Dent taking a stand, telling everything, man, he got GI's hit with 660 months. Probably will never see the light of day again. Stanley.
Wow. He was telling too. Green Eyes was the light-skinned dude. Green Eyes was that light-skinned nigga that was telling Daryl Dent. See, what happened was this. He told Daryl Dent he was finna start telling on them other niggas because they exposable, right? Daryl Dent was like, shit, nigga, you gave me the footage. I can use this footage, go tell on all of y'all niggas, probably go to protective custody, never have to see y'all niggas ever again in life, and go about my way. GI, Green Eyes, whatever that is, he was going to tell originally, but he ran his mouth and told Daryl Dent that he was about to tell. That's when he knew it was it. All of them young niggas start telling, the top dog niggas start telling, and the ones in the middle, the niggas that was actually going in them stores, 660 months, bro, it ain't no coming back from that. Look, think about it. Think 660 months. It's 12 months in a year. Yeah, man. Let's go.
4, again, who was out for armed bank robbery, hit with 300 months. Tiny Bogey, 264 months. One of the rats, Bully Badass, 120 months. Even after he snitched. J-Bone ended up going down, getting hit with 272 months. Bones Calloway out of Compton, 72 months. Snoop Howard, 90 months. Junior Manchester, 120 months. Av Boy, 36 months. When she stepped in on one play, Lady Bogey, 12 months. Brown Eyes, aka Lil KO, 57 months. And E-Mac, again, the feds allege he did the dash June of last year. Now his plea agreement had an L in it. You know, he was strong arm and shit. These dudes was facing a lot of time. I don't know the specific number that he got hit with, but the BOP alleges that he is still on the run.
He's 37 years old, man. 37 years old. I can honestly say, yeah, nah, let's be real. The average person, bro, that get caught, he was smart enough to get away. He escaped. And this was what, 2015? It's 2026 now. So just he looking at life to order to sustain, and look, that says escape. Oh, yeah. So he ain't in jail. You see what I'm saying? You will have to probably live one of the most lowest, quietest life. I'm talking about the smartest play. If you that hot, right? You want to get to a area where there is probably no banks, no schools in the city. You'll probably have to go somewhere like Virginia. Like if you go to Virginia or Kentucky, I promise you, there's a city where there's nothing but traffic lights and railroad trains. You know what I'm saying? You can probably get you a little apartment out there, nigga, for a little bit of nothing. Keep your head down. The police don't even got TVs, and the police station don't even got no TVs in that motherfucker. They got radios and walkie-talkies. That's how you survive, man. You don't be running around here still trying to live life and shit. That's crazy. Yeah. E-Mac was that one. But look at that time, man. Let's, nigga, 660 months, 300 months. Come on, 264 months. Come and what is this? This is federal time. This is feds. This is not state and none of that shit, nigga. This is the feds. 120 months, 272 months, 72 months, 90 months. Oh, that's 120 months for Junior Manchester. He was 20 years old. 20. That's crazy work. Let's go. They all struck out.
Jay Stone caught a loop in the case. He wasn't found guilty of all the charges, and some federal prosecutors had messed up some paperwork and that did some funny shit in front of the jury. Jay Stone filed his motion, got his case dismissed, but he couldn't stop going down for other crimes after the shit. Since he was released from the feds, he caught a gun charge, went down for a murder. Most recently, October 2025, he went down for a DUI. All the while in the back end, the feds still trying to clip this dude. They basically tossed that full dismissal and told him he can have a retrial. So he has a retrial set for next month, February 2026, where he's still going to be tried for these robberies because these dudes took the stand and implicated him in all his movements on the plays. And as you can imagine, Daryl Dent, ex-MLB player, came to the hood to fuck with some gangsters, ended up taking a stand on everybody. He chilling right now, not in federal custody. This how that shit play out, and this is what happened when the Inglewood family gangster bloods.
Daryl Dent, he was making the most money, 130 racks. Nigga buying a kilo, nigga, in a hotel. Man, come on. Just to find out, nigga, you end up telling on everybody.
Put together a $6 million team, getting cracking throughout LA, man. Y'all.
Yeah, that's nasty work, man. That's, boy, you better be scared to fuck around with this new day age of hitting licks and skits, man, because these niggas will tell on you once you get caught, because you can't get away forever. And then niggas go keep going and keep going. It's like gambling. You know what I'm saying? You go keep going till you hit big, and then you end up striking out before you hit big. And that's my time, man. Y'all like, hype, and subscribe to the channel, man.